Yo, good afternoon, Miss. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So how has Ashton been over the last week?
Um, he he's been pretty good.
Okay.
We've only had one incident. He was playing outside with some kids in the yard, and one of the little boys that he was playing with decided he was gonna go pee on a tree. So Ashton decided he was gonna go pee on a tree and just, let the whole neighborhood see him with his pants down.
So he had his pants all the way down.
Not all the way down, but far enough.
Okay. So how did you respond to Ashton's butt being out?
I told him if he needs to use the bathroom, it needs to be inside.
And what did he say?
He said, well, he did it. I'm like, I know.
Yes, I think that's that other piece is him and social cues do not line up.
Yep. No.
So he's just mimicking. Oh, I saw them do it. I can do it.
Mm-hmm. And I explained to him that we don't like show our private parts in public. And he just kept saying, well, he did it. Why?
So he doesn't. So I guess he's too young to understand exhibitionism and voyeurism
Mm-hmm.
and how that'll get you in trouble. Because in this new hypersensitive world, that is not acceptable behavior.
Right.
So what else has been going on? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and that's the hard part, the balance between that. Like, yeah, I mean, who really cares if my son goes and pees on a tree outside? But if someone sees that,
And they turn it into he was exposing himself to another boy, or he was doing this.
well, and the other boy had his sister there.
Oh.
So yeah.
So then yes, that could be a problem.
Yeah.
And so Ashton saw nothing wrong with it. Anything else come out of it?
No, I wasn't trying to make a huge deal out of it. I just told him that's not what we do.
Okay, and how's Ashton interacting with your brothers?
That's still horrible.
So that's still when you're seeing the outburst and him wanting to fight is when they're over there?
Last time they were here, there weren't even any fights. But there was just a lot of disrespectful language back and forth.
Well, I mean, that's still better off than it was when they were hitting each other and fighting and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ashton for the most part tries to stay to himself when they're here.
so
he has been.
And that's a big change from them all kind of being in the same room and hanging out and everything else.
Mhm.
How is, other than the peeing incident, how is he interacting with his peers?
Uh, he's been fine. He yeah, I don't think I've had any reports about him. I've gotten a couple of reports from school, but they have all been about like impulsive behavior.
Okay.
And I got an email from his teacher about it, like just having a really hard time, you know, sitting still. When the class is like out in the hallway, he'll have like not angry screaming outbursts, but just like screaming outbursts, just wanting to be loud. And I talked to his therapist at school, and she said that he's been expressing a lot of worry about me because I've been in 2 car wrecks recently. He's afraid something is going to happen to me. And my dad just got out of the hospital, so some anxiety over that. So she thinks his anxiety might be coming out as like hyperactivity and impulsiveness.
Okay. And so how is he dealing with the whole situation with your dad?
Mm, I guess okay.
So no real big issues?
Mm. I think he's more worried about me than my dad.
Really?
Yeah.
And why is that?
He's afraid that I'm going to be in another car wreck and not be okay.
Well, I mean, that makes sense for him to be worried about you like that.
Yeah.
And so how have you been able to comfort him with that?
I just keep telling him that, you know, I've been fine after these last 2. So I'm okay.
Well, I mean, just one of the things to remember is he probably is going to be worried about you because in his mind, it's, oh my God, what happens if my mom's not there?
Yeah. He he's he has he's been showing heightened anxiety like over a lot of things. Over a lot of things. Like he won't be in a room right now unless the door is closed, because he said he's scared like someone will come in the door, so he's keeping the door closed. Last week there was apparently like a bee that got on his bus, and he came home having a complete breakdown over this bee and saying he never wanted to ride the school bus again, like tears streaming down his face. He's just showing a lot of anxiety over a lot of things right now. A lot of things.
Is it because he thinks he's allergic to the bee? Is he afraid of the bee?
I'm assuming he's afraid. But that was a big, big reaction.
Well, maybe the purpose is serving. Maybe we have to figure out what's the purpose that behavior is serving. Is it really about the bee or is it about something else?
Mm-hmm. Just anxiety all over the place right now.
I mean, in a scary way of asking, do you think it may be that fear of dying, and so he's afraid of you dying, so he's also afraid of him in some way dying?
It's possible.
And that it's manifesting this time in the bee, but it's really, you know, whatever else. It's everything, but it's just, I don't want to die. I don't want my mom to die. And so his extreme overreaction is him thinking about it, but not being able to express it.
It's possible. Like we talked about though, I'm not sure how afraid he is of him dying though. Because, you know, I found him in a closet with his belt wrapped around his neck before all this started.
Right.
So I don't know how afraid he is of him dying. But me, definitely.
Like I said, I think that maybe one of those things that has to be looked at is like I said, we hope to assume the best and like, hey, we think it's going to be like this. But in the grand scheme of things, maybe at this point he has reached that point of, well, if my mom can die, maybe I could die too.
Yeah.
And then if my mom dies, who's going to be there to take care of me? Where am I going to go?
Right. Especially with all the things going on with my dad.
Yeah, so now that puts him in an even bigger situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because this means now he could end up with Anthony.
No.
You know, or his dad. I mean, just in his mind, it's like, where do I end up?
Yeah. Well, I know for sure he will not end up with his dad.
I'm not saying that he will. I'm just saying in his mind, because a lot of times we will let things spiral to a point where it makes absolutely no sense, but we let our minds get there and then our behaviors follow. I don't want to end up like that. I don't want to end up like that. And you're like, oh, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Or why are you fighting? Because I thought this, and so I know they said it, and you're like, nobody said anything, buddy.
He did say something to me about like the other kids on the bus trying to protect him from this bee. Even this kid that Ashton has a lot of trouble with. They've had trouble.
You froze. Hello? 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 Hello. You're on mute. Hello, Miss Hunt. You're on mute. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
So, yeah. So you were saying this kid that that he even had problems with is the last thing I heard.
So he was saying, 'cause apparently everybody was trying to protect him from this bee, and he was like, so they act like they don't care, Mom, but they really do. And I'm like, I'm sure they do.
Well, ultimately, he wants to belong.
Right.
He's just socially awkward, so he doesn't know how to.
Mm-hmm. It can be very hard for him.
And I think even with your brothers, he was so used to being a bully that when they stopped being nice about it, all of a sudden it was no longer Ashton gets the pass because he's 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he wants to be a tough guy, so now we're going to treat him like he's one of us, and it didn't go well.
Mm-hmm.
Which was kind of what I was worried about in our early sessions when we were kind of going back and forth. And he was like, "Oh, he holds his own," and I was like, "But yeah, they're not treating him like a teenager yet."
Mm-hmm. He's gotten better at not being aggressive, period. So.
Well, I hate to say it, I think them being overly aggressive with him gave him a wake up call as to how other kids was viewing him
Mm-hmm.
because he was the aggressive bully.
It's possible.
And it's that whole thing of, I don't like it. So now I got to figure out, do I really want to do that to other people?
Yeah. Hold on one second.
So what I was saying is maybe this was that wake up call for him because he didn't like it. So it's kind of like, hey, I don't like this. I probably shouldn't treat other people like this.
I don't think he honestly wants to treat people like that. And maybe we talked about this last time. He was fighting with a kid on the bus a lot, and he came home one day and said, "We've decided to make a truce." So
No,
I
you
don't.
didn't tell me that one.
Mm-hmm. He he was he wasn't getting like notes sent home or anything, but he would tell me like, yeah, the bus driver yelled at me and the bus driver yelled at him. We just decided to make a truce and be nice to each other. I'm like, all right, good.
So why were they fighting? What was the reason behind the behavior?
I have no idea.
He never said why he started the behavior or what happened before the behavior.
No.
He just knows he didn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. And ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, I think he does want people to like him.
Mm-hmm. Well, most people want to be liked.
Yeah. Most people do.
It takes a special person to want to be disliked.
Yes.
So,
And and one other thing. We were at the playground, and he called this other kid an idiot. And when we got in the car, I asked him what that was about. And he was like, because that kid has a phone and I don't. And I'm like, how does this make sense? I mean, I guess it does, but it doesn't.
it really doesn't make sense, but so he was envious of the other kid, so he called him an idiot.
Mm-hmm. Over a phone.
But when you realize that most adults now are addicted to electronic devices
Mm-hmm.
and they can't control themselves, what do you think's going to happen when a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old sees everybody else has it? Then why shouldn't they have it? And why shouldn't they be able to function in that same fashion of not dealing with people and,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much being able to hide at home on your phone or computer or
Yeah. Speaking of home, he's been doing pretty well at home though. I don't have any complaints at home.
so how has he been responding to the positive praise?
Good. He always does. And he actually I know it's not praise, but not praise specifically, but he's getting a lot better about if he wants my attention. He's actually asking for it instead of doing things to get it.
So did you ever start doing the planned ignoring and not feeding into that behavior?
Mm-hmm. I
So
dealt with about a 45-minute crying session earlier today, but that's all it ended up being, was just a crying session. Like, I closed the bedroom door and you could hear him crying, but it didn't go any further than that because I just left the door closed until he could calm himself down and was ready to talk to me.
so you didn't reinforce the behavior by giving him the attention that he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, which is a good thing.
And he wanted money. He wanted money and he didn't get money either. So
Why did he want money?
for games.
And is this for his iPad or for his Xbox?
His iPad.
How much is he getting to use his iPad?
Probably still more than he should. But there has been a definite decrease in it because the past few nights have been hard because his sleep schedule is off again, but he had been doing really, really well, going to sleep at a decent time.
Mm-hmm.
So that had helped. And I've been trying to like do more outside with him. So we've gone to like um outdoor movies, um, having him outside playing with the kids in the yard more.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they're down here, he'll be outside for like 2 or 3 hours. So,
Really?
mhm.
So he's spending more time around other kids and not having as many problems.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
You will hear him, you will hear him still call himself a bad kid sometimes, though. He will say, I'm a bad kid.
why does he say he's a bad kid?
Um, he says because he has anger issues. That's what he'll tell you.
Because he has anger issues, he's a bad kid.
In his mind, yeah.
Anything else?
No.
So how have you responded to your father's situation? Because that may also be playing into what he's seeing and feeling.
I have been very stressed also.
And do you think Ashton is seeing your level of stress?
He's probably not seeing it, but he's probably feeling it, I'm sure.
And why would you say that?
Because I do my best to not show it or react to those emotions, especially around him. Like I do my best. I can't say I always succeed because there are times where Ashton really stresses me out, and I don't always deal with that the best way. Um, and so I do my best to keep the outward showing of that to a minimum, but like I'm smart enough to know kids are smart enough to know when something's off or they pick up on things.
Well, I think every good parent gets stressed over their kids
Yeah.
and feeling like they need something that they're not getting or they're not providing them with enough. I think that's every mom that I've ever talked to in some way, shape, or form has come back to, I'm stressed over what I need to do for my kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stressed about how to give my kid that pair of shoes that they need so that the other kids won't make fun of them.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm worried about being able to pay the rent. Or I'm worried about them being able to do whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm worried that if I do the work I need to do, then I won't be able to spend time with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's normal.
Yeah.
And I think you spend a lot more time with Ashton than a lot of parents spend with their kids.
Mm-hmm. I'll try.
I mean, I'm just saying, comparatively, you're able to give him a lot of that time and attention that he needs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the opposite of what a lot of people get.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I did was I looked at all the information that you've given me over time. And so I did a 61-day graph of Ashton's behaviors from the little chart that we were doing because we tried to keep it pretty simple.
Okay.
So this is Ashton's 61-day chart, and it's looking at outburst, physical attacks, coping skills, along with some positive things like positive praise, eating dinner together, and then just tracking his sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll see where 0 is the baseline, and you'll see where it goes up according to when there's spikes, where problem sleeping is actually the opposite because it starts up high, and then you'll see it drop down for certain periods, and then it'll go back up to being high.
Mm-hmm.
Because he tends to not sleep through the night and or not want to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, positive praise stays up there because that's one of the things that you talk about, that you're constantly in positive praise.
Yes, I'm very good at that.
And you know, from this, you literally see that his physical attacks literally are maybe twice a month, and they tend to be when your brothers are there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of funny because it became a very definitive pattern based on the weekends when they were there. And then the rest of the time, it was pretty good.
That's very interesting.
And the outbursts, I mean, there were some sprinkled in there, but even with those outbursts, it didn't get physical. It was just an outburst.
You know what? That makes sense though, because you know how we talked about he got upset with a kid and wanted to fight a kid because the kid said he had told him he had a butt crack, right?
Mm-hmm.
He gets really, really sensitive over little things like that. And my brothers have a tendency to say a lot of things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he will get aggressive if he feels like, not all the time, you don't ever truly know, but if you say something like that to him and his feelings are hurt, it can end up in an aggressive outburst. Like a couple of days ago, I was just like being funny with him, and I told him like the curls on the bottom of his hair. I was like, your curls are looking like fishtails, man. And he didn't, but you could tell he wanted to hit me. He was like, why would you say that to me? And you could tell he wanted to hit me.
Because in his mind, he couldn't process the whole, it was a joke,
Yeah.
which kind of goes back to that whole thing about him not being able to read and understand social cues.
Yep.
So he lashes out because he can't understand what they are.
Yeah. Yep.
And so his behavior has become a defense mechanism. You can't talk about me. You're being mean. You're hurting my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I said your curls look like a fishtail. How is that hurting your feelings?
He got really upset. He was like, why would you say that to me? Never say that to me again.
And I guess that's just a local, or it may just be just a difference for him. Because for my group, that was probably the nicest thing you would have said, because you could have came up with just all types of horrible responses for people.
Mm-hmm.
And our game was to see who could come up with the worst thing to say to somebody to get the
Mm-hmm.
biggest laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our bad normal.
Yeah. And what else was it that he got like that about? Oh, I called him Buddy. He got like that about me calling him Buddy.
Why?
I don't know. He started crying about that, and you could tell he was getting angry about that. He's like, don't call me that. Never call me that again. You're supposed to be calling me sweetheart or something.
So Buddy wasn't good enough. He's supposed to be sweetheart or something.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ask him why?
No.
For some of those crazy situations, after he's calmed down, the question may be, why did that bother you?
Yeah.
So you can kind of, put two and two together for what that behavior is serving. Is it because he can't process it? Is it because there's something else going on in his head?
Mm-hmm.
And it might even be that's one of those times when he was calming down. Hey, by the way, what color were you seeing?
Yeah.
Well, I was seeing red. Well, is seeing red a good thing?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that may be a way that you're able to, talk with him and kind of get some of his feedback so that hopefully he's able to attach the behavior he's displaying to the purpose it's serving, and then being able to figure out, is that really the outcome that he wants?
Mm-hmm.
Because I get mad, I say something mean to somebody, and then I get punched in the face. Do I really want to get punched in the face?
Right.
For me, 11 times out of 10, it's probably going to be a no.
I agree.
Now, for somebody who is masochistic, they may want to get punched in the face.
They might.
I love my face too much.
Mm-hmm.
They could knock out a tooth or something, and then I'd look funny. So I think at this point with Ashton, it's just going to be us paying attention to those behaviors, figuring out more of what purpose they're serving for him,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing and then sometimes maybe even ask them, did you get what you wanted out of this? Is this the outcome you wanted when you did this behavior?
Right.
Well, no. So are you going to do this again?
I was very, very proud of him today, even though it took him like I'd said, 30, 40 minutes, whatever it was. He was able to calm himself down completely by himself. He didn't come out trying to get any attention while he was upset. He completely did it all on his own. And when he was able to finally get himself together, he came out of the room like a polite, respectable young man and said, "Mom, I love you," and asked for a hug. After he was able to calm himself down. I was proud of him.
That is big for him to be able to come out and just say he loves you and he was sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You almost didn't know who that kid was.
Nope.
So then what are you going to work on with him this week so that we can start tracking it and seeing how he's going to respond? Any ideas?
This week is hard because it's fall break.
Oh, okay.
So it won't be anything within the school or the school bus. I think I need to do something related to anxiety. I don't know what exactly, but that seems to be our biggest thing right now.
Something to help him process his anxiety is maybe a couple times a day, ask him how he feels and ask him to draw it or ask him to color how he feels.
Mm-hmm.
And see if he makes something that's solid or if he makes something that's really, really fractured and all over the place to show, how he's feeling. Because if he puts it all over the place, then he's not a solid object.
Mm-hmm.
And the how are you feeling? Tell me what you've been doing. So, like I said, it's linking those behaviors to his feelings. What was going on before you did that?
That's the hard part, especially when it comes to things that happen at school. He'll either just be like, "Well, I don't want to talk about it," and then I have no way of knowing, or or I don't remember.
That is the standard little kid answer.
Mm-hmm.
I ask my son all the time, so what'd you do today? I don't know. What'd you study? I don't know. Well, fine. I'm going to staple a camera to you. So everybody's going to laugh because you have a big camera stapled to you so I can see everything you did today.
Well, especially when I think we talked about this last time. You get a note written from the teacher in his planner, which he already knows is there, and he already knows I'm going to ask about it. Ashton stepped on a little girl's head today and laughed. Okay, you know it's written in there. You know I'm going to see it. You know I'm going to ask you about it.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I ain't do nothing. Shoe prints say otherwise.
Yeah.
You're just being mean to me. I mean, but once again, we're realizing you have to be very concrete with him.
Yeah, you do. You really do.
So yeah, that's what you have to kind of do is be like, hey, this is what we need you to do, buddy. Or This is what I need you to do, son, or this is what I need you to do, sweetie.
Yeah.
It needs to be bang, 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 bang. Well, you told me this yesterday. No, I didn't. I told you bang, 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 bang. And you have to build that same process and do it over and over and over. It's 5:45. What are you supposed to be doing? I don't know. Is your homework done? Well, no, it's 5:45, so you need to be starting your homework.
Mm-hmm.
It is now 6:35. It is time for us to have dinner. Repetitive, 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 so that he already knows what it is. And every time you go to change to those same repetitive schedule, whether you're singing, whether you say it the exact same way, to where he knows exactly what it's going to be, because it's like, oh, she's done this every day for the last 35 school days. She's done this the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, it's Thursdays. What's for dinner? What's for dinner every Thursday? Every Thursday we go to Mountain Mike's and we get pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Every Thursday is corn dog day. And that helps him to know exactly where he is. But when he has to guess about it, he's going to do those behaviors showing that he's unsure.
Yeah.
Buddy, I know that you might be unsure about something, but you don't have to think about that, because you know what Thursdays is. It's corn dogs and tater tots.
Yeah.
And you know that Papa's going to have this on Thursdays. He's going to have blah, blah, blah. And so everybody has that same, it's Thursday.
Right.
And that's going to give him structure, so that he doesn't have, so he knows what comes before it. He knows what behavior to display, and he knows what the outcome should be. So that's his antecedent, his behavior, and then his, his outcome or his product. And if you praise him for doing everything he's supposed to do, he knows, yay, this is what I get when I do this. Mom's going to praise me and give me a high five.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get this positive from him.
Yes.
And how's your dad doing with the praise for him? Is he doing better with it?
My father cannot even stay awake right now.
Is it because of his medication?
I don't know if it's that or just how sick he is.
Ooh.
So I don't I can't really say there's been any like really big interactions with him and Ashton since, in the past week.
Okay.
There really hasn't been.
So has he gone in there and like giving him a hug or anything, just to say I love you, or any of the other stuff?
No. I think Ashton's kind of like right now, like, okay, I don't 100% know what's going on with this. Let me stay away from this.
Well, that might be the piece of his whole anxiety in your situation.
Yeah.
Because in his mind, he may also go with, if your dad was to pass away, then he may go, does everybody die at such and such age? I
Mhm.
know because I am guilty of it because I did it myself. When my stepfather died, I asked my mom if everybody died at 38.
Mhm.
And she had the conversation, oh my God. She goes, I prayed to God that I didn't die at 38 because you would have been scarred.
Mhm.
I was like, no, I wouldn't have been. She goes, yeah, you would have at 38. I was like, yeah, probably. So for him, I think he's just trying to process it.
Right.
And so, how are you dealing with everything? Since right now you are the super rock of the situation and you have to be that solid object that keeps Ashton grounded.
I'm fine.
There's nothing you need to change to your routine to help yourself out.
Mm. I could probably do better with sleep right now too.
How do you judge your level of stability?
Mm. Hold on, D.
So the question was, what could you do to help yourself out?
Yeah, sleep. Sleep. Yeah, sleep is a struggle right now. So that.
Something that I've used with other people is as a tool to help yourself know exactly where you are. You may come up with a emotional stability song
Mm-hmm.
that when you listen to this song, it lets you know if you're stable at that point or not. So that you know how you need to behave and deal with yourself to make sure that you're not displaying behaviors that are going to be detrimental to you and create outcomes that you don't want.
Right.
Because the antecedent is that you're emotionally not stable. And then the outcome is something that's detrimental to you, whether it's short term or long term, it's still detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a song out there or something that you think that may serve that purpose for you that you're like, oh, I listened to this. This is how I feel. Oh yeah, this ain't good right now.
Um, there's a couple, yeah, that I could use. Yeah.
Like I have one, and when I tell people, I've told people before, and they looked at me like, that song?
Mm-hmm.
And then other people are like, yeah, I can see that song because I was like, well, now that you say it, I can never listen to that song again. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So what might serve that purpose for you?
What song?
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple.
If it's something by Nickelback, I'm probably gonna make fun of you.
No, nothing by Nickelback. Nothing by Nickelback.
Like I can say my song is Lenny Kravitz,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Go ahead.
and it's Tell Me Mama. So for me, that is my emotional check song.
One I could use is One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey and Boys to Men.
Okay.
That's one.
So then for you, that's how then that'll serve as your emotional check. Because if you listen to that and it triggers you, then you know that you're not stable. Because speaking for myself, I know if I'm not stable and I just think about that Lenny Kravitz song, I'll find myself at the breakdown point. And I'm like, oh, not stable. I might need some time to myself. So people don't find me, in the corner crying and they're like, what's wrong with him? We might need to get him, that special vest in a rubber room. For a friend, it's a drink. If he thinks about a certain drink and he loses his composure, he knows he's not stable because that was his mom's drink.
Makes sense.
So it's just finding something of value to you that you connect to something else. So yes, that for me, Lenny Kravitz, that song is anchored to my feelings of my grandmother. And so that's why I say for you, it could be a drink, it could be a song, it could be a thought of a TV show, it could be just about anything. Like I stopped being able to listen to one of my favorite songs because it's a trigger for somebody else. So I was like, oh, can't do that one anymore.
Yes, that happens sometimes.
I was like, but I really like that one. Oh, it's a trigger. Never mind. Just like I said, I realized that we really are creatures of routine because my son, if I put on certain music, he thinks it's time to eat because that was his eating music when he was younger. I put on certain other music, to him, it is time to go to bed. It does not matter what time of day it is. Because that's what he went to bed to every night. If I sing him his good morning song, so no matter how bad his morning's going, if I sing him his good morning song, he's like, hey, that's me.
Absolutely.
We all anchor things to something. So we need to use our routines to pull back the things that we need when we need them to help us be more focused and able to delineate what we're doing or shouldn't be doing.
Yes.
And I think we're going to be able to use those same type of principles with Ashton. We just got to figure out for him what it is and what will serve that purpose and help him know. And because he's so young, honestly, it could be something silly like using VeggieTales songs.
Yeah. I'll have to find out something to use.
Like I said, the silly songs with Larry, that he wants what everybody else has. So there's a song literally called Everybody Has a Water Buffalo. Do you need, or that song, I Have to Tell You Something. I don't have a belly button. I mean, one of those silly ones just to get that, to get that response from him to help him kind of get where he needs to be at.
Yeah.
Well, I hear him knocking at the door.
Yes.
Well, I will let you go.
Okay.
All right, well, have a good night.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.